Online, and especially within the men's community, there is much discussion about what we call red pill knowledge. Of course, the origin for this expression comes from the movie The Matrix, where the truth is offered in the form of a red pill, and a false representation of reality is offered in the form of a blue pill. But this has evolved into something with more depth of meaning, especially within the men's community, but in other circles where the idea of the red pill is discussed as well. In this video, I will describe what the red pill as an idea means to me, identify some key features that red pill topics seem to have in common, and discuss the ultimate value of having various forms of red pill knowledge. This is intended to serve as an introduction to a series of topics that I believe represent red pill ideas. First, I need to mention that there are many different types of red pills as far as the category of knowledge to which they apply. In the men's community, the red pill broadly refers to awareness of the situation for men in society in terms of where they stand in relation to women. There are a few other ways that you could define the red pill in the men's community as well, or describe it in more detail. In my view, this can actually be broken down into more specific red pills. But the way I described it here is what's referred to in a general sense within the men's community. However, there are separate examples of red pill knowledge that pertain to other topics, such as politics. Without getting into the particular arguments or trying to fully illustrate any one of these examples, things that we could use as examples could include the awareness that the mainstream media lies on a regular basis, or the understanding that modern democracy is failing us. Many other categories of red pill knowledge exist as well, including many topics that are probably beyond my knowledge, at least at this point in time, and probably to an extent, just in general. There's a lot of knowledge and a lot of things that I as an individual and other people as well, they're just not going to know about. Let's look at some characteristics shared by most, if not all, ideas that we can call red pill. The most important element, I think, is that a red pill idea represents a significant truth about something that most people are either unaware of or refuse to accept. This could probably be a brief definition in itself for what we mean when we talk about a red pill. If most people are aware of and can apply a certain concept, it can't really qualify as red pill knowledge. Also, there has to be some important application for a red pill idea. So if someone has accumulated esoteric knowledge about a subject that most people don't need to know about, it's not really of value to them, it's not something that pertains to their lives, that doesn't really qualify as anything we're likely to call red-pilled. Instead, a red pill needs to involve something significant that most people are in the dark about or pretend doesn't exist. Most of this can be understood in pretty obvious ways, though, and can be determined without too much consideration. In other words, it's pretty obvious when something is not really necessary or valuable information for most people, or if most people or a significant number of people already know about something, that's not really a red pill idea. That's kind of something that people already realize, or that at least a lot of people are aware of. Another characteristic that I've noticed for most red pills is that they are typically discovered through experience, while they usually contradict what you are initially told through society. Thus, no one is generally given red pill knowledge at the beginning, but this is gained by exposure to certain environments or situations that lead to reality being discovered or uncovered. Other people's experiences can help confirm and spread this awareness, but some degree of direct exposure to a red pill is necessary before one can know how to overwrite the original lies or information that you were given from the blue pill perspective of what you're initially taught to believe. Along with this, there is often a vested interest in society for people not to realize the facts or truth involved in a red pill concept. Often this happens because certain powerful people would lose some of their control or influence over society, or certain groups would suffer if the red pill knowledge was well known. An example of this in the manosphere, as far as the red pill applies there, is the series of lies that men are told about women to limit their ability to overcome their base sexual desires. So men are told women are these mysterious, wonderful, amazing people, and we can't really understand what their motivations are, and we should always, want to please them because that's what's going to lead to your happiness as a man. All of that exists so that men can basically be controlled through women, and that's the type of thing that I'm talking about. Men having their sexuality used against them, and then not wanting men, and then society not wanting men to figure out that that's what's going on. That's an example of what I'm talking about when I say that certain groups could suffer if certain red pill knowledge were known. In this case, women and the people that can control men who aren't aware of these kinds of things going on around them. In some cases, other cases, where vested interests aren't as meaningful, a blue pill interpretation is preferred to avoid accepting a certain flaw or darker aspect of human nature. The driving factor here is more how people wish to perceive themselves than other people necessarily having an advantage by a certain lie being told, where the truth is basically too painful or inconvenient for most people to accept. One example that I'd list under this category is when people believe that others are generally good, when in many cases most people are amoral at best. People are not generally good. And I think you could almost say that objectively, but there's a lot of people that think that way anyhow because it makes them feel better to have that belief than to have their sort of eyes open and see the limitations of people from a moral standpoint, to see how people really are when it comes to their values or their morals or how they actually react in the real world. A lot of people would just rather think that people are good and ignore what a lot of people do in practice. That's an example of what I'm talking about here, where people just don't want to know the truth about something that is a major part of human nature in that sense. Becoming aware of red pill knowledge is often a positive thing, since this can put you several steps ahead of those stuck in a blue pill mindset, and can allow you to understand the world around you and your own life better. Different red pills have different applications depending on what they're about, so how this affects you will vary. Some general examples of benefits from having some form of red pill knowledge could be steering clear of detrimental relationships with women, for example, or realizing that being a nice guy isn't usually a pathway towards success, and having the opportunity, for example, from the political side of it, to prepare for the results of a failing political system, which you could also call like a prepper red pill. You realize what's going on around you politically. A lot of it's not boding well for our future. We better prepare for things to kind of continue to deteriorate if you're aware, again, of the political system around us having the problems that it has and really moving toward failure. If you have that sort of red pill knowledge, that's a benefit of that. You have that option available to you to prepare for what may occur as a result of that. As I discussed in an earlier video, there is a potential dark side to the red pill, particularly if you don't apply your knowledge properly, and I want to expand on that a little bit. What this means also varies depending on your personal characteristics and subject matter. Learning about how men are exploited in modern relationships, for example, can lead to a prolonged red pill rage. Learning too much red pill knowledge at once can lead to an overload that may cause more harm than good for that person. So if that person becomes too, what you could call black-pilled, too, I guess you could say, nihilistic, they may really just lose sort of their sense of self and it may overwhelm them. So that's another potentially negative part of acquiring different forms of red pill knowledge, especially if it all happens at once. That's, a potential drawback of the red pill. It's also possible to be unable to cope well with the rejection you'll receive from mainstream society based on what you've learned that isn't acceptable to them. In other words, you have red pill knowledge about something, other people don't like that, and so they shun you. And if you're not able to sort of handle that as an individual, and you somewhat rely on other people's approval, that could have a negative effect on you if you're not prepared for that. That was the initial meaning of my video that I did on the dark side of the red pill, which is that society will see you as the bad guy. You have to be prepared for that if you're going to accept that type of knowledge, that type of understanding that most people don't want to accept, or at the very least aren't aware of. So despite the potential great value in red pill ideas, there are also potential pitfalls, as I've just mentioned, if the knowledge and awareness aren't applied right by the person that has this type of understanding, this type of knowledge that we could call red pill. So in conclusion, a red pill is typically a representation of a significant truth that most people are either unaware of or unable or unwilling to accept. This type of knowledge is generally learned through experience and contrary to what is taught initially. Often there is a vested interest in society to continue to teach the blue pill version of something, either because it benefits particular people or because the truth is just hard for most people to accept and they just don't want to deal with it. Although there are potential pitfalls in discovering red pill information, properly applying this type of knowledge can allow you to have a step up in society. Such concepts can enable you to better understand your environment and the circumstances you may face, so that you can make better decisions for yourself and the people and the things that deserve to matter in your life based on what you've come to understand about yourself, about life, and about the people that matter to you and the things that matter to you. So again, I'm going to have this basically be the intro video to other videos that I want to do about individual red pill topics. I've already done a couple videos about the red pills in the manosphere. I'm probably going to remake those videos. And from there are many other things that I'd like to talk about that I feel are basically worthy, or they at least exemplify a lot of things about what we would call red pills. They're worthy of that red pill sort of label or status, I think. And a lot of these things are valuable. Again, this isn't just going to be random pieces of knowledge. They're things that I think people really don't understand that they should, and it makes your life better. It gives you more options, more choices in life when you understand these red pill ideas. So that was the purpose of this video. I hope you enjoyed that. There really aren't many videos that try to define what a red pill is. This was my attempt to do that. And like I say, to make an introductory video for other red pill topics that I want to discuss. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to making these types of videos. I look forward to making content that deals with red pill ideas and things that I think are valuable and important for people to consider and understand. So thank you guys for watching, and again, I hope to make more videos on this topic.